From the gold mine at the Shrine on Airline in New Orleans, Louisiana, Cox Sports Television is proud to present Major League Rugby. Today, the LA Giltinis take on the Toronto Arrows. Well, welcome everybody to New Orleans, Louisiana, to the gold mine. My name is Ian McNulty, and I'm joined here today by Jeffrey Ormsby, and we have such an interesting game in store for you today. There's going to be the action on the pitch, and there's also the fact that, well, frankly, we're here in New Orleans, Louisiana at a home game for the Toronto Arrows. Folks who've been following the league know, of course, that the Arrows have been based in Marietta, Georgia so far this season because of coronavirus protocols in Canada, their home base. They're officially the hosts here today, but really this is a neutral venue meeting for two teams that, Jeff, seem to be on a collision course. They're both coming off very strong wins.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the Arrows first. I mean, last week against Old Glory DC, a totally different Toronto Arrows team from what we've seen in the first 2 weeks and actually in the last 2 years. The last 2 years and the 2 weeks before that win, they kind of play the northern-style slog-it-out rugby, cold-weather rugby. They showed some flair last week, moving the ball into space, attacking in space, with a little bit of the South Americans that they've imported into the team. That may have something to do with it, but it's still the big Canadian boys that are also doing a lot of the heavy lifting and still doing it.
One of those being Ben Lesage, of course.
Right. I mean, Ben, he's a Calgary, Alberta native. You can see his, if you watch the last game, just big, strong guy, making lots of people tackle him, and thus creating space inside and offloads inside as well.
And how about the Giltinis, Jeff? I mean, here's a team with a lot of Australians. Some of these guys have quite a bit of history together, including Harrison Goddard, who played for Coach Coleman in Australia.
That's correct. I mean, Harrison Goddard, Oak Hill Academy from Greater Western Suburbs, and then to Randwick in the eastern suburbs, and then down to the Melbourne Rebels. I mean, incredible field general and a great symbol for the Indigenous rugby community in Australia. I mean, this kid's amazing, and you watch him on the field, his vision and his timing is impeccable.
Well, like I promised, we have quite a game in store. Two great teams playing together in one of the greatest cities in the world for rugby, New Orleans, Louisiana. We're the home base for both of them today, and so pleased to have all of you with us watching. Okay, here we go. Jeff, we got quite a game in front of us. I'm really excited for this one because of some of the dynamics we discussed earlier in the show. I'm really excited to see how some of these players match up together. You know, Toronto Arrows, as we pointed out, a lot of talent from Canada and a lot of young talent on this roster, isn't there, Jeff?
Yeah, you can see that they get Rodrigo Cortez back too, big Argentinian tight end prop that's going to help secure their pack. Yeah, I'm interested to see, Ben Lesage again, as well as Gaston Mires, the Uruguayan international on the wing. He's got some feet, and it's going to be an exciting game. The Giltinis.
Yeah, the Giltinis, I mean, this is a team that's brand new. This is their debut season in MLR, and yet a lot of these players are veterans, to say the least, including a lot who've played together, who've had a lot of opportunities to coalesce over the years. Going to be, I'm just fascinated to see how it plays out today.
Yeah, I mean, 4, 10, 13, you see on your screen about 250 caps for the Wallabies.
There's Chris Silverthorne for the Arrows, of course, like his team, based in Marietta, Georgia right now, because of the coronavirus protocols we've been discussing all day. And Darren Coleman, head coach from LA, stalking the side there, ready to see how his squad starts this one off, as we all are. Toronto will be kicking it off. And it's really actually a nice day for rugby out here in New Orleans. We'll mention it a few times, I'm sure, but this is officially a neutral. This is a neutral venue for both teams. Officially, the Arrows' home game, though, and the Arrows claim that turf right from the start, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, they high kick and nice tap back off the high kick that wasn't taken down by the Giltinis.
Goddard moving that ball out.
Yep, that's what they did last week, hitting that kind of the 13 channel. Let's see, they're going to recycle here, Ian, and set up a phase here and see if they can get some space out wide.
Moving back to the inside here, giving it to some of the big boys. Rumbling through there. Giltini's not giving them much to work with here, but here's a nice break. Arrows swarm to it.
A recycle here again. good negative tackle there.
Man, Adam Ash taking it up. The ref is looking for him to do something with it. Oh.
A little pop kick, but the ref had the penalty there. So Ross Brody just said, I'll have a lash with a little pop kick, see if something materializes. But now we come back to the spot on the penalty. It's right directly in front of the post, and looks like Tyler Adams for the Arrows has decided to try for the 3.
Not rolling away, so it gives them an early opportunity here. And look where they are. Why not? Why not take the points from just a minute 20 into the match?
Yeah, I mean, the Arrows kept good possession of the football there and moved it, to the edge and came back to the edge and kept recycling when they needed to and kept chunking up the field and drew the penalty. Typically, that's what's going to happen with a lot of phases. Either you're going to have a knock-on by the offensive attacking team, or you're going to hopefully derive a penalty from the defensive team.
See how this first kick at goal goes. Way, and slots it.
Yeah, right through.
I should say it's probably an unseasonably cool day here in New Orleans. They're not dealing with much wind or weather at the moment, although I understand that could change later on. But yeah, straight and true right there. They were offered the opportunity to take 3 points within the first minute and a half of play, and it paid off for the Arrows.
Yeah, and Giltini's come back with a crafty kick from Matt Gitto right at the 10, but Toronto recaptures the ball.
Giltini's now finally with their hands on the ball, see what they can do with it here. Going to, give it to the bigs right up. Oh, a dashing tackle there, but he's still on his feet. And finally down. Giltini's hold on to it. Managed to keep it moving here. Piercing the halfway mark. And
Goddard with a little kick into beautiful touch finder here if it gets out. Crafty. So we talked about at the beginning of the show, Ian, is just his vision is terrific, Harrison Goddard. And you saw that there. You saw that there was space behind the defensive line and just a beautiful kickoff off a slow ball.
So important to have that vision to take that half second. Here we are, that first line out. That happened fast. Arrows fighting for it deep in their own territory. Kind of dangerous situation for them. They'd be looking to clear it here after one more pound. Now they're setting up for it again. They want to take it up.
Yeah, and I think that's a consequence of the narrow in-goal areas here. We may see a box kick here from Ross Brody lining up for it. There it is.
Well played by Brody. He wanted to get that out of dodge,
didn't find touch, but it's okay.
Yeah, the Giltini's right back at it. They say, thank you very much. We'll have another run here. And now we're going to try it on this side.
That's a good guy. That's a guy you don't want to kick to with space, John Ryberg. I mean, he's really tough to tackle. Big physical wing.
Free play!
And that was a bit ill-advised. But again, Matt.
A little shout out here to Puma, the official boot, the Toronto Arrows.
Yeah, you saw there that Matt Gitto just tried to wing it wide into the wide channel because he had the penalty advantage. As you see, they're coming back in a similar situation as to what the Arrows had just 2 minutes ago. I would expect Gitto to take the points here, and he is going to. You see that one of his friends bringing the kicking tee out.
Yeah, At this early phase in the game, right? You're feeling out the opposition. If there's an opportunity to take 3 while you're doing that, absolutely.
Right, you take the 3 and you presumably going to get the ball back too on the kickoff. However, on both kickoffs we've seen thus far, the other team has attained the ball, but this is the smart thing to do, of course. This guy, he doesn't really miss.
He's one of the smartest in the game right here, Matt Gitto. Seasoned veteran adds yet another 3 more points to seemingly endless tally of scores for the Australian. So back to the restart. We've sort of exchanged penalties here early on. Both teams threatening the others' try zone and coming away with points. Keeps it even in play so far. The early going here. Not terribly aggressive play by either side. Maybe still in the feeling out phase.
Yeah. But it's going to get going soon. You can see they're trying to play wide game, both teams. And here we go. this could be trouble here for Toronto.
It's like they've got some numbers working if they can get it out.
Yeah, big carry by Glenn Bryce there.
Go back on the
Scottish
inside.
international got a knock on by the Arrows, but playing advantage.
Scoops
Oh,
it up.
this nice line break.
Cottrell go. Moving it very fast here. They like what they see in the corner. They're going to have to work it back inside. Goddard wasting no time there. The ball skip bounces into the waiting hands.
Quick tips play there was real nice.
Not giving the defense much time at all to organize. See Toronto scrambling. Moving out wide now. Is there one more? No, he kicks and chases and into the very timely arms of the Arrows. Knocked that one away from danger.
Right.
However,
Arrows get the Giltinis get the penalty though for holding on in the tackle. That was Adam Ashley Cooper with that little stab through from the 13 spot. Again, just the vision of an experienced player like that.
seemed lucky to pluck this ball away as he did. However, with too many men on top of him, if he didn't do that, he was going to lose the ball anyway. They're going to take that away. So
yeah, I mean,
Giltini's ball either side of it.
Kind of looked pretty marginal if you actually released the tackle there. Adam Ashley Cooper looked like to me he might not have released the tackle, which should have been the penalty on him, but looks like the referee wants a very quick release from the tackled player. And this is just going to be trouble here probably for the Arrows. Just going to pound with these big boys from the Giltinis.
Giltini's threatening, knocking on the door. They're using their battering rams to let the Arrows know that they're at the door and they want in.
He's got an offside penalty on the Arrows already, so there it is.
There's the try. Yep. They had all the options right there with inches to go from the try line and advantage in their pocket, and that was big. Corey Thomas bringing it in, Australian, also has eligibility for Canada.
Sure.
Man who played in Japan pre-pandemic with the Sunwolves.
Yeah, and just powers through. You can see you've got Big Charlie Abel and Corey Thomas on the 5'8" Tyler Adams there. There's no chance there that the 10's going to tackle the Big 5 with the 3 coming up from behind him.
It's amazing, Jeffrey, on the try line there. Sometimes it seems like, you know, if the hinge is tight, you can pound away forever and don't seem to get anywhere. That final inch is just impossible. And then other times you get the right bearing, you get the right momentum, you get the right body position, and a big forward like that is unstoppable.
Right, and that's what they're doing in the pick and jam, is they're trying to suck in the big boys and then be isolated and then have the backs of the defensive team isolated, and then you can just crush them.
Gateau converts, and that brings us to 10-3 pretty quickly here in the opening minutes of our officially home game for the Arrows versus the LA Giltinis. And you know, we said at the beginning, this is going to be an interesting match. It's a lot of experience on one side, a lot of youth on the other, a lot of continuity between all these players on both sides, people who are well familiar with each other. Charting their course now early in this season.
There's another kickoff that goes to the away from the offensive team.
Yeah.
There's some wide ball, a little high, good hands there.
Second time we've seen the Arrows capitalize on that.
And hits him right down at around the 22 for the Giltinis. A strike runner there, and
Giltinis threatening. Looks like they're probably going to go wide here with this. What do they see on this? What do they see on the edge? Do they have an extra man? Do they have a man on? Giltinis hold tight there on defense, make him go back inside.
yeah, the Giltinis are, you know, they're not dedicating anyone to the breakdown, so they're just fanning out and not really. That could be that was close to being an obstruction, but yeah, they see the Giltinis aren't challenging the breakdown, so they're just fanning out on defense, and it's going to be hard for Toronto to break that wall of defense. This is probably the ninth phase here, and they've made about 8 meters, 6 meters.
Sort of a stalemate defensive position here.
Right. This is kind of going back to the slogging way we talked about earlier. And there's a little front foot ball if they use this here.
He's got options.
Yeah.
He had support on the left and the right, and the ball comes out and into the waiting arms of the Giltinis.
Yeah, Big Charlie Abel with a stick there that dislodged the ball.
Have to use it. Quatrin getting, Valenu getting improvisational there with the ball with his scrummy temporarily detained elsewhere.
You know, Matt gets.
Let's check out this turnover, Jeff.
Yeah, watch the stick here by Big right there. You see it. Charlie Abel makes the stick, and the ball comes loose. And then, unfortunately, the Giltinis, Matt Ghetto was looking for some space behind the defensive line and just missed hitting the ball in the field of play, and it went straight into touch. So now we come back to about 26 meters out for an Arrows lineup.
Well, that was defense with emphasis, enough emphasis to knock the ball loose.
Yeah, and Charlie Abel's another high-level player that's on the Giltinis. High-level experience in Australia. There he is again, big carry.
Well taken by the Giltinis. They're on the move.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone wants to keep their ball on kickoffs or set pieces just yet. So.
Well, yeah, a lot of changeover.
There's a big Gary Owen from Matt Ghetto.
Huge Gary Owen. Well taken by the Arrows. However, we're coming back.
May have an offside on one of the Giltini players out wide. Nope, check that. I think the penalty's going towards for the Giltini, so it could be a late hit or.
A quick introduction of our referee here. We have Lex Weiner, American. He's told us today he's focused on just keeping a positive environment for his players to express themselves. He wants his players to express themselves. I think for both teams, that manner of expression will probably be with, what would you say, grinding runs, pounding tackles, and hopefully many points.
Yeah, and that call, he had an offside call that may have come in from the AR was eventually the call. Finally saw the hand signal. A little behind the back ball there.
Hey, Giltini's getting pretty dynamic on this charge. Back into the inside. Goddard wasting no time at all keeping that ball moving. Arrows well positioned for defense though. Not giving him much. And that ball comes loose and out, hits the deck, but Giltini's ball again. They says, Ref Weiner says, play on.
Big John Ryberg again.
What a run.
Tough to tackle, you know. Now he sucks in a couple of defenders. That's a big hit there by Paul Cellini though for the Arrows.
Been a lot of set serve spike with this ball. That ball's
there
been
we go. We're coming back though for a first knock on the Arrows.
You know, a few interchanges here, Jeffrey, where it's been anyone's ball for a split second. The ball's been played pretty wide and loose.
Yeah.
Sloshing around.
Yeah, I mean, so coming back though, you saw that Adam Ashley Cooper knocked it on in the last phase, but referee didn't believe that there was advantage played, so he's going to come back to the first knock on the Arrows. Looks like we got a little break in time here for something.
Break, okay. So again, we'll give Ref Weiner his due here. He's like I said, an American. He likes a positive environment. He doesn't want to see any scratchy play. He doesn't want to see any extracurriculars. He just wants to keep the ball moving, keep the players up on their feet and active.
Yeah.
And he's being assisted today by the ARs, two local guys, Alan Alonji and Sadie Boo Michael.
Yeah, two high-level rugby players back in their day. So pretty wise of the game and know the game really well. Yeah, so you're seeing here, I mean, it's a very wide open game from Los Angeles, but Toronto has played good defense. Hasn't been a lot of stuff in the middle of the field. It seems like a lot of the play has been from 30 meters in on each team's side. So this will be a good attacking scrum here for Los Angeles.
Yes, we've seen some of these kickoffs go awry.
Right.
And now let's see what the set piece looks like for these boys in the scrum. Again, some new rules this season for Major League Rugby in the scrums.
Yeah, I mean, the stoppage is over. It looks like there was one of the Toronto Arrows got nicked a bit, and he's back in. This is the first scrum. It looks like it was actually the hooker who's off and been replaced by Jack McRogers. It looks like Andrew Quatrain is off. Maybe a head knock, Ian.
Teams put in. Now they are threatening once again.
Yeah.
Successful scrum.
Just coming around the side, building up.
Keeping it with the bigs.
Not going to recycle here. Hit it up with the bigs and look for that space out to the right here.
Goddard moving his backs into position, letting them get set.
Yep. This ball's a little slower for Harrison than he would like, and then we have the knock on. Good defense by the Arrows. And they're going to have a lash here, but they knocked it on too. So come back to the first knocking in. Good defense by the Arrows in the interior there. Also,
looks like a pretty nasty hit there.
yeah.
Yeah, it comes away reeling. That'll slow things down.
So we had that wrong. It was actually Lucas Rumble who got knocked in the head right there.
One of the toughest men in the fields right there.
But, you know, the number 2 is already out. Andrew Quatrain, the Canadian, is already out. And it's Jack McRogers, another Canadian, has replaced him. I don't know if he's off for a head knock. We'll have to hopefully get some information on that. But that would be an early substitution you don't necessarily want for a front row player.
No, sir. You want to use those substitutions strategically, not actually by necessity like this.
Toronto is doing a good job of kind of slowing down the football too when it's going into. And we got a penalty, a scrum penalty here for. This looks like they just went to ground.
Yeah, that's right. And I think we're seeing an illustration here of what I mentioned, some of the new MLR rules this season. The scrums, they want to keep those scrums moving. They don't want endless resets. The refs have been told, you get 2 bites of the apple and then call it.
Right, because a lot of times when those scrums go down, it's not because one team is stronger than the other. It's because someone's trying to look for a little edge and kind of throw their shoulder and bore in. So the 2 scrum rule is kind of getting prescribing people from trying to get that advantage and just making them scrummage properly.
Well, props are going to prop, aren't they?
Yep.
Nice clean ball there for the Arrows. Get that one out of jail.
Yeah, and they go for a quick exit down the middle of the field.
Let's see what the Giltinis do. Plenty of room. Want to take advantage of some of that room.
That was straight into touch.
That's going back.
From Glenn Bryce, the Scottish international.
Seems like a rare misfire there. That one had all the opportunity in the world to bounce the right way, but directly out.
Yeah.
In front of the dead ball line.
A bit unfortunate, just carried a bit. It's Glenn Bryce at Glasgow Warriors, player in Pro 14. He's another one of the highly sought after players at the turn of the season. Giltinis has signed.
Hey, arrows put in, well taken, and immediately put to use on the attack.
Yeah, this Manuel Montero, the wing for the Arrows, he's a big guy. I was down on the field beforehand, and big Argentinian, Argentinian sevens player. He's a large guy, and you can see it on the field when the ball ships back to his space.
Arrows say he's the fastest man on the pitch as far as they're concerned. Just saying something considering his size too. Hey, what will they do here? It looks like they've got numbers, but running out of room, running out of space. Can they recycle it? Yes, they will. They're moving it back inside. Throw a dose of the forwards at him, sucking a few defenders. Great support there for what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Goes down. All well secured. Again, good support on these runs.
You got a high tackle there.
Very much so.
And Blake Rogers knocked forward. So we're going to come back to the penalty in.
Ball comes loose, but it's for naught because of that high tackle for pretty wide, even clear to see from up here.
Yeah, it wasn't Blake Rogers. It was the hooker, Mahi Valahu. And it looks like Toronto's going to try to nudge this in the corner and do a put.
Yeah, let's watch here for the penalty.
No, it was Blake Rogers. I was right. I saw the mullet flying. Blake was, former Colorado Raptors guy, big strong player.
Yep, University of Colorado product right there. The smothering tackle was a little too high for pass muster, so it gives the Arrows an excellent attacking position here. Looks like they're going for a maul.
Yeah, rather interesting call there.
Running out of room, though.
Let's see if they can cycle around the right.
All to go here for the Arrows. On the right path.
Get him to the ground. There you go. And just be patient here. 5 meters out. Just a couple pick and jams and hopefully suck in some of the big boys and then isolate your big boys on their smaller backs.
The teenies have to watch their A gap here, leaving some holes. And
That
Arrows
should be in. Oh,
like
it's
they may
just a
be
little
just
bit short. Be patient here.
Arrows are over.
He
Possibly held up.
He's gonna have a look. Unfortunately, we don't have a TMO with an overhead view to see or video replay for
Well, it's just a pile of
Mr.
humanity.
Weiner to help have some assistance.
Just a pile of humanity right there. Looks like he does get over, though.
Yeah.
Plots it down, and I believe the Arrows should be celebrating a try here.
Unfortunately, like I said, we can't communicate to the ref to tell him as such.
That's right. That look that we had at it looked pretty good.
Yeah,
But
that's the big 8-man.
it all depends.
Manuel Diana, the Uruguayan international. Oh, he looks like he's going to call it held up.
Held up indeed. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
But, you know, it's still the Arrow scrum here, and they get the attacking platform. Oh, I guess he may be calling a knock on here because it looks like Goddard's got the feed. So he's calling a knock on here.
interesting turn of events.
That may have also come in from the AR. That's unfortunate for the Arrows. They had a good build up there. But good defense by the Giltinis and getting low and sticking that shoulder into the football.
Tables turned here. Still have to win their scrum.
Yeah. I mean,
A lot of movement there.
I don't know if I agree with that. If you look at that initial push, it looks like to me that that Cortez got the better of the loose head there, and that the elbow dropped to the ground before he called him for not coming in straight. I'd like to see the replay on that and maybe confer with my referee assistant here.
So we're being aided in the booth by Ed Gardner.
Yeah, it goes down. He looks like he goes down right here. See? Yeah.
Yeah, looks like we're coming up on their first water break. So teams will go back to huddle up, discuss what's gone right, what's gone wrong. Still anyone's game, looks like to me. Okay, so in the first 20 minutes of this game or so, we've seen the ball travel back and forth a lot. We've seen a few missed opportunities by both sides, but you got to say, 3-10. These guys they're looking pretty evenly matched at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, I think we unfortunate knock on down when the pick and goes were going for Toronto. Looking back at that scrum penalty, I think that was a little unfair to Toronto there as well. I do think that Blake Rogers' elbow hit the ground, and that caused the shift in Cortez's bind, which unfortunately when the referee's on the other side, he only sees the push on the angle that, to me, was a consequence of Blake Rogers going down, elbow going down. But we play on, and that's the way it works. It's a little skittish there.
some wild kicking here. Looks like they won't try to reset. They're taking it and run with it. Giltini's got a little space there. Now they've got some men on. Go up and under.
Yeah, this is the guy that Montero, the big Argentinian. That's the kind of guy you'd want countering on a kick like that with some space. Great hands by Mieres there.
Oh, blown up again.
Yeah, a Giltini down.
Okay, and LA's men's being tended to. Out back there in the corner. Looks like that's.
Sorry, that looks like Matt Gitto who's down. Yeah, that's Matt Gitto. He'll shake it off.
Hope so. You said one of the more experienced men on a highly experienced team.
Yeah.
That's just a tough in the air tackle right there.
Yeah. Again, if there was a TMO, Ben Lesage could be in serious trouble for that, hitting the man in the air. Adam Alangi, the AR, may be telling Lex Weiner that there should be a penalty. We'll see what happens.
Some discussion here.
Yeah, and that he's given the penalty. You can see he's given the penalty for not wrapping, and hitting. Not wrapping was the signal the ref gave. So the ball will be played where the ball landed on the kick. And thankfully Matt Gitto's up and ready to strike this one into touch.
Yep, good thing there. But the ref, if he gets knowledge from his ARs that some dangerous play there, he's going to call that every time.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's in the air. I mean, he's defenseless. So that's going to be called every time. I mean, he brought him down to the ground with ease so that there wasn't a need for a yellow card. Just a penalty.
Martini's mauling.
Yeah.
All the forwards in.
A little stagnant. So Goddard's going to probably use this pretty quickly.
So crab walk
second,
in the middle.
Second push though. And
how nice and narrow that is. Looks like they can do something with this.
yeah, there it is, stagnated.
Out to the backs. Struggling for it.
With Burton just hitting it up.
Solo effort there, but well supported behind him. And a turnover. Looks like not releasing.
Yeah, penalty. And Lucas Rumball, looks like he's recovered from that head knock. He's stuck that long mane right in there and got low. And here's a replay. Luke Burton. Yeah.
Very effective defense.
Lucas Rumball. He was part of the tackler, and the referee believed that he released the tackler. And again, we talked about it early. He's looking for quick release from the tackled player.
Well, look at Rumball's body position in that tackle,
Perfect.
too. There's nobody was getting underneath
Right.
him.
I mean, big, strong guy,
That's the way on defense you just completely claim that play.
Right.
You get in there low, no one can get underneath you, nobody can move you, and you own the play.
Yeah.
2 balls on the pitch for
Yeah,
some reason. It's okay.
Not a squirrel, but another dog. Yeah.
We're cleaning that up.
Big hit by Vandermeer.
A little high out there on the corner.
Yeah.
But one came down okay. Ref's letting it play on.
Yeah, big strong run here. Let's try to use this ball quickly. A crafty kick. He got taken out with a hip check, a Canadian hockey hip check there. Should be a penalty. Yeah. See here.
Pretty nasty hit on Tukale.
Tokale. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a player.
And all our Canadian viewers, they see that on the ice. It's permissible, but in rugby, no, that's going to cause you a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, hard hit there. Looks like he's getting up pretty quickly though. That's another one of the Argentinians.
Yeah, Tokale.
Played in 2 World Cups. No stranger to the hard hits of rugby. Of course, got to make sure it's all according to the law.
Well, it looks like he's gonna go back to what you recognized was that high tackle out on the wide channel on Vandermeer, by Vandermeer on the wide tackle, and then they're gonna take the kick from there instead with Tyler Adams striking it into touch, hopefully. Giving him some good meters here.
So it gets him to a halfway point.
It was interesting, he had 2 penalties there, and as the right footer, you would have thought maybe he would have come to the second penalty on the left side of the field, even though it was about 8 meters behind, because he would maybe get a longer strike with his foot. And that's another errant line out.
Wow, that was a great opportunity there for the Arrows, given away to Giltinis. Let's see if they can do something with it.
Yeah, but the Giltinis are just throwing it around. That's a great tackle.
Driving tackle there, forces him back.
Yep.
When we talk about the pressure of defense,
Right.
building,
And a turnover by the Arrows here. Oh, coming back for a penalty.
I think this will be an Arrows scrum.
Trying to get a hand signal from the ref. What he's
Oh, no kick and goal.
penalty. Penalty.
And I would judge that a good call for the Arrows. They need to get something moving here on their offense after that first very early 3 points.
Looks like the AR had a side entry on the Giltinis there at the breakdown.
Okay, and again, that's the call where, if you're coming into that ruck, you have to go through the gate, as we were always told. You have to come straight on through the player. Players on the ground. Picture a fence post on either side of them. That's what the ref's looking for. If you're outside of that fence post, he call you for side entry.
Yeah, Big Dave Dennis was a bit befuddled by the call. Another one of the well-capped Wallabies, Sydney, New South Wales, Australia, and recently played for Exeter. Won the European Cup over there, and another really seasoned player on the Giltini side.
How this dash goes.
It's pretty good.
Straight through. So it's good. So that's another 3 for the Arrows to bring us to 6-10 with LA still clinging to their lead. Wind doesn't seem to be a factor in this game. It's been a fairly mild day out here. There's a little bit of water residual on the pitch from a good soaking that we got overnight here in New Orleans, but doesn't seem to be much of a factor in this neutral site game.
Yeah, I mean, there's some humidity in the air, but nothing that would keep the ball down. There's another kick, and not really taken cleanly, and Toronto kicks it away, and Los Angeles here is going to start shipping the ball wide into space.
Lotini's going to send us something that knocks on right off of his hand.
Yeah, it's been a sloppy game from the Giltinis. For those of you who watched their game against Seattle, they were real smooth. Obviously, they're missing Billy Meeks today, but Luke Burton's a real high-level player too.
Absolutely right. So you see that little drop off the fingers. Yeah, and you're right, Jeff. That the game last week was clinical. It was surgical. It was they built the lead. They just kept pouring it on. They never let it go.
Right. Not a lot of mistakes, and today a lot of mistakes. And there you saw Goddard it just slipped out of his fingers. I don't know, maybe a little bit of moisture in the on the ball. But I was down on the field before the game, and it is dry. I mean, there is not a bit of wetness on that field, and that's surprising. We got a lot of rain last night here in southeast Louisiana.
Well, we had our first attempt at this scrum.
This is the other, I mean, the first few scrums, it looks like Toronto's holding their own. I mean, Cortez is a massive scrummager, high-level scrummager. Let's see what happens here. They just want to stabilize their scrum here, Ian, and just get the ball out.
That's what Mr. Weiner is looking for, too. A nice, stable, straight scrum. He gets one there.
Put it out the back here. There's the big winger.
Good, quick hands.
Yeah. Got to try to recycle this ball quickly.
Ball slows down there.
Yeah.
Gives the Giltinis a chance to reorganize, which they ably do. Wall of black jerseys now.
There's some front football here.
He's giving it a go, looking to get on the front foot.
Yeah, it looks like you got him for leaving his feet. Yeah. Coming in the side, actually, huh?
Yeah.
So again, just like the Giltinis, the call that Dave Dennis was questioning, it comes back against the Arrows here for a side entry at the breakdown. And Gitto with a big touch finder here.
So
real big.
Good to see Gitto hopping about. Seems fully recovered from whatever was bothering him earlier.
Right.
See him playing the game for your Giltini chair. Valenu.
Yeah.
Oh, Ref Weiner didn't like what he saw.
Yeah, I don't think he thought the tunnel was wide enough. So he's gonna give him a second go here. We got another errant football on the pitch.
Don't be distracted by the multiple footballs, people.
Right, it's a pinball. And he's calling not straight, so.
Go back to the Arrows.
Yeah, they probably want the first throw. Just kind of like icing the kicker. Like we have the first throw back, but right here on this scrum, again, just hold the scrum, look to probably get it back and just kind of get yourself some territory here off the set piece. Playing the Giltini zone. Like I said, the hands have been a little bit suspect, Ian, for the Giltinis thus far. Maybe Toronto believes that they can put some pressure on them and force some handling errors.
Well, pressure is what it's about. Pressure reduces your decision-making time. It causes errors. It's one of the
Big rumble by the by Diana, the Uruguayan international. And here's setting up for the exit here, Ian.
Comes get out of jail. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Tokale bound to the 22. Good kick. And coming right back at him if it doesn't get hooked out. This could be a good ball to attack for Toronto. Good feet there by Lesage. Kind of ill-advised. He's got another penalty on the Giltinis for being offside.
There was a little pushing and shoving there, but lots of smiles too.
Right.
Hard to read that one.
Well, yeah.
This is two very aggressive men who both know what they're doing in this game.
And both know each other. I mean, Vandermeer is actually he's a Canadian international, even with the being born in South Africa. And then Lucas Rumble, of course, has had his sniff with the Canadian national team too. So, no love lost there, but also friends.
That's the camaraderie of rugby, the bruising brotherhood of our sport.
Yeah.
Jeffrey?
And again, Tyler Adams is lining up for the 3 here. He's been pretty solid thus far.
I think so far what we've seen, Jeffrey, is a battle for momentum, and neither team quite being able to capture it.
Yeah, and I think that Toronto's got to be ecstatic that, it could be 10-9 with about 6.5 minutes left to the first half. I mean, got to get a little leg on that, and it's perfect.
Yes, well done. He had the distance, he certainly had the accuracy, and pulls his team within a point of the Giltinis.
Yeah, my friend John Gillis in Nova Scotia was wishing that one over the crossbar.
Let's watch this kick again. Lines up. And you can see the suspense building. Will it make it? Yeah, it just crosses over.
I think the heavy moisture air was getting to that ball there. So, and now Toronto takes the kick off down at their 22, and again probably just going to punch it up a few times. They're outside the 22, so you're going to have to keep this exit kick in the field to play. Tokale with the left foot again. Nice kick.
Gives the Giltinis a ball they can use.
Yeah.
That they do.
To see Vandermeer get his hands on that big crash up. There he is.
Giving their backs a little more work to do here, keeping them busy.
Yeah, again, just untidy ball. We may have a problem here with Lucas Rumball getting caught in there, yeah. Unfortunately, Lucas Rumball got caught in on the wrong side and couldn't roll away. So the penalty's going to go to the Giltinis.
Frustrating part of the game for sure. Anyone who's played it, we've all been trapped under another man.
Yeah, I mean, and then a guy like Charlie Abel, who's really intelligent rugby player, says, "Oh, I'm going to pin you in there so you can't roll away, Lucas." One of the rules in the olden days when that happened, they would just blow it up for the scrum. But now they're going to penalize you for not rolling away, even though you're physically unable to roll away like Lucas Rumball was there.
So far, our ref, Lex Weiner, has been letting the boys play pretty much.
Off the top here, and there's Vandermeer with the crash off the blindside wing. It's a good build-up. Oh, that's great. Oh, errant pass there. Ron has done well to consolidate around that isolated player.
Another gift escape route for the Arrows.
And Mr. Tokale finds touch about 28, 29 meters.
Certainly not out of trouble here, but does relieve the immediate threat to their goal line.
I mean, that was a great break. Corey Thomas make a break right up the guts, and he thought he had a player on his outside, and he did have a player, but it happened to be a Toronto Arrows player, unfortunately.
How many times in this game already have we seen that ball just come wild and fall into the other hands?
Yeah, I mean,
those are the easiest turnovers this game will give you.
Yeah, I am surprised by the handling error, the amount of handling errors. We have a penalty here, it looks like, for side entry on the maul. So Matt Giddo's going to just play free, look at that, just going to play some free fun football, knowing he's going to get it back at some point.
All kind of green in front of him.
And there it is. There's Adam Ashley Coop with a good break. Now again, with the penalty advantage, they can have as many lashes as they want their space. This is going to be trouble for the Arrows here, right?
Now they could do whatever they wanted with that ball.
That's going to be really problematic. It looks like, yeah, that's a yellow card. Someone just reached their hand in there and just played that ball out to kill it. I don't know who he's calling out.
Refs refs having words with Rumble.
Yeah, I think what the refs got is, yeah, I think what he's got is the lazy runner here, like the defender. Yeah, he's got Cortez kind of as what we call a lazy runner, not really trying to get back on side, and then kind of getting in the way of the outlet pass from the 9 to the offensive player. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he sent him off. It didn't look like it was that egregious. It looked like Cortez was actually just trying to get back on side. I didn't see him like hesitate necessarily. See here, Goddard's looking to, yeah. He kind of slowed up there to. It looks like he was kind of cognizant of what he wanted to do, and he slowed up there to interrupt the outlet pass. So.
Theatrics after the play notwithstanding.
Yeah.
This is in Lex Weiner's
Yeah.
hands now to make the call.
It's a professional foul in that regard. So, like he's experienced. He knew what he was trying to get away with. And
in the meantime, the Arrows prop Cole Keith getting a little attention here.
Yeah. So Cortez is sitting alone on the in the sin bin on a plastic chair for a little bit, and of course. We'll see what Los Angeles chooses to do here. If they choose to scrum down here, Ian, of course, then Toronto would have to substitute out one player for a front row player. But it looks like they're going to tap and go. And good defense, good negative tackle by Toronto there. They were ready for that. And they get the knock on.
Look at that. You think it's all going against you. A man goes to the sin bin.
Yeah.
The opponent is knocking on your door.
Not really understanding that. I mean, Los Angeles has got a 5-meter scrum, basically, with 14 men. So,
let's check it out here.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you would think that, Toronto would bring in one of the backs into the pack to have an 8-man defensive scrum, thus allowing an overload on in the backs. But I'm surprised that Los Angeles tapped and went there. I would have gone for the scrum.
Contesting that ruck tenaciously, closing the gap, not giving them much option. The high degree of pressure, I think, brought them back.
Yeah. A little bit, like I said, I mean, I don't want to speak too much about it. I'm really befuddled by that decision by the Giltinis there.
Playing an opponent a man down. You've had solid set pieces thus far.
Right, and look at the clock is running on the yellow card too. To Ross Brody smartly is like just walking around saying, "Hey guys, taking some time off the clock and meandering about." There he is looking back. Yeah, I'll feed it sometime. I'll get it in there sometime.
Yep, that's right. Gives their man just a little time off his feet.
Tick, tick, tick.
Finally. Some substitutions here in the break too.
So, like we said on the scrum here, they brought on Tyler Rowland for the front row and taken off Manuel Diana in the back. So they're going to have looks like they've sent someone in from the back line. I can't tell who to hold that 8-man scrum.
And a lot of time taken off the clock with that interaction. Let's take the ball, looking for a little room here.
Good break up by Thomas Della Vega, the Argentinian, up finding touch there. Here's Glenn Bryce striking back.
Yeah.
Big hit.
Box kick gets it right into Bryce's hands.
Yeah.
And the Giltinis are threatening once again. They can get clean ball.
Oh, great line.
What a break.
Great line. Matt Giddo with just a flat dart down the line. Corey Thomas with the big carry. Corey Thomas has made a lot of meters today. There he is again. He's got the football in his hand.
Thomas always in the right position.
This could be a turnover though. He's got an offside call first though. The ball was turned over at the breakdown, but he's got offside on Toronto. Yeah, look at that line. Beautiful line by big Corey Thomas, and Giddo sees it with those experienced eyes of his.
Strikes through, eats up all that turf.
Yeah. So there's offside.
And you see with a run like that, takes 2 defenders to bring him down. So dangerous. You have to think these penalties, though, they really detrained some of the momentum they clearly were building there on that attack.
Yeah, Corey Thomas is down right now. I mean, like I said, he's had a lot of carries and some big tackles on him. It's like they're trying to rub out a little issue in his knee, unfortunately.
Yes, he's been a key player thus far in the offing for LA.
Yeah, he's given him a lot of front foot football. You don't want to be unfortunate if they lose him.
One of the many Australians on the Giltini side.
Yeah, he's holding the back of his head. He's not looking too comfortable down there, Ian, unfortunately.
And a lot of tension.
Yeah, those of you who can't see, unfortunately, he's grimacing a bit. He's getting to his feet. Yeah,
he's going to be assisted
off. That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. He's a really good player, and he's had a dynamic game today.
Counted for the Giltini's solo try of the game thus far.
Yeah, I would presume they'll bring in Luke White, another Australian, he former Glendale Raptors player, and I see the bald head there, so I'm presuming I'm correct.
The White comes with his own headgear.
Maybe I can't get the number. No, it's actually 19. It's Nathan Den Hoek, another Australian.
Yeah, the Moose.
Yes, he's also bald.
Scrum here. Going to use it.
Nathan's from Brisbane.
Archie.
Tough Queenslander. Yeah, this is a good scrum from the Giltinis.
Look at this. This could be unstoppable. And it is.
I mean, he spilled the ball forward first, though.
The ref's calling it a try.
I don't know what he's got the penalty. It's the question if it's going to be a penalty try. I don't know.
Watch how they march this scrum. They've got them reeling now, and just such discipline to keep that ball all hemmed in there. Where the waiting hands can top it down.
Yeah, so he actually dotted that down. He made force with the ground, and then it squirted forward. So it wasn't a knock on. I think he took a look at it and definitely had pressure down on the ball before it spilled out.
Well, what you saw there, Jeffrey, was a forward's delight, right? You keep that ball in your back. If you can move it without even breaking your binds, and you are pushing your opponent's scrum back like that, absolutely you have the opportunity just to put it down on your terms, anywhere you want. You've got all 8 men grinding like a tank in the same direction, and just that final strike to put it down.
Right, and also you're up against a pack with 8 guys, one of whom is a back.
And a conversion.
And one of whom is a back, and of course you're going to have the advantage there because you have Cortez out.
Watch that movement. They are just that is a ground assault of the classic making, that as a forward it rarely goes that well for you. So they're heading off into the locker room. The Giltinis pulling ahead with that last second try as the first half expired. It seems like it's been their game, although the Arrows are not conceding anything easily and keeping right there with them with those penalty kicks. We'll be back in just a few minutes for our second half. Stick with us too in New Orleans. Welcome, everybody, to New Orleans, Louisiana, where we have Major League Rugby continuing. I'm Ian McNulty, and I'm joined here with League Commissioner George Killebrew. George, welcome back to New Orleans. It's great to have you back here again.
Thank you, Ian. Yes, it's perfect. We have a double header, so I could see 4 teams, and always good to be back in New Orleans.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we're glad to have you here. And actually, New Orleans, we're known as a great city for hospitality and hosting. And today we're hosting 2 teams that are on the road. We've got, right now, we're in the midst of the Arrows LA game. And this is a game, to me, George, that kind of, in a nutshell, shapes up a lot of what MLR is working through right now. You've got the challenges of making the season happen, of keeping the teams going through the pandemic, which continues, and also the promise and growth of the league with a very exciting new team like LA. Where is this point in time for you? What does a game like this symbolize for you for the MLR?
Well, first of all, if knock on wood, we may go 20-0, which means we've got 20 matches in this season without having to have a COVID pause, which is a really big deal. Our teams have done a great job in our COVID protocol. So we're getting the matches in. You mentioned Toronto, having to leave their country and relocate to Atlanta has been very difficult for them. But they're fighting through it, which is great. And a new team, an expansion team like Los Angeles, typically expansion teams in sports don't do very well in their first year. They're doing quite well. So 2 different scenarios there. The Toronto guys fighting through some adversity, having to leave their country and relocate. The LA guys being an expansion team and playing pretty well right now.
Like I said, here in New Orleans, we're glad to have them both. We've got the NOLA Gold facing the Austin Gilgronis after this match. So a doubleheader, plenty of action here for rugby fans. And, there's a lot of talent on all of these rosters. We've been talking about it during the game, the youth on the Canadian side, all that experience on the LA side. But it doesn't matter, any of that, if we don't have teams and organizations and really just a structure behind it to make it a league, to make these teams work. Has the league been getting a good response from sponsors, from supporters, from the people who pay the bills and make this thing tick?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Really 2 significant things. We started the Rugby Network with our friends at the Rugby Pass, which is, people can now go on to the rugbynetwork.com. It's free. You register and you can watch all of our teams play, and then a lot of shoulder content and behind the scenes look. And that's been a huge success. We've had over 20,000 people already register. We kind of set an internal goal to have 30,000 for the season. So we're going to blow through that. So that's been one thing. And then the sponsorship side of the league has really picked up. It started with a big announcement with American Airlines, which dovetailed into relationships with both Geico and Guaranteed Rate, which are major brands that sponsor major sports. So we're glad to be included with that. And really, today is the best day in Major League Rugby's history. I mean, we are really doing some great things, and you're seeing it out on the field today.
Absolutely. Well, it's just it's thrilling to be part of something new and building, and we thank you for all your work that you're doing to make it happen and to give the talent that you're seeing on the pitch the opportunity to play at this level, and really for the fans to give them such thrilling game experiences. It's only growing from here. George Killebrew, Commissioner of the Major League Rugby, we are so happy to have you here, and we're excited for what comes next in this Arrows LA Giltinis game. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you, Ian. Have a good second half.
All right. All right, well, welcome back, folks. Pretty interesting first half here, Jeff. We set this up. We knew what we were going to get. We've got the young Canadians. We've got the Australians back together again. They got the band back together again in LA, hitting the pitch, hitting the road for this a road game for both of them. Technically, the Arrows' home game here, but really New Orleans hosting them both today. And at 17-9, we were discussing it right at the just before the end of the half. It looked like the Arrows were holding tight. They're probably pretty happy to be there. That last try that probably that puts the score a little further out of reach for them. But if you're the Arrows, you stayed in it with kicks like this, right? They took the points early and often. The Giltinis answered right back when they had the opportunity. That's how we began this match, kind of that feeling each other out thing.
And then the big boy took over there. Corey Thomas, who unfortunately went off in the first half with a left knee injury.
Missed.
And the Toronto's Arrows come back, make it 10-6.
All the tries have been for the Giltinis thus far.
And this is the one right before half, which is kind of a really big momentum swing here. Scrummaging against 7 forwards and 1 back for the Arrows.
Yeah, dotting that try down. That was really the exclamation point on the first half for the Giltinis.
Right, and that's you see the consequence of penalties. Cortez goes off for that kind of lazy runner, that professional foul. Now they can only have 7 forwards in the scrum. They have to bring a back in who's not used to scrummaging. And you saw that the repercussion of that was the Giltinis just dominating that scrum right before half and just dragging the ball over the 8-man, touching it down.
As we get underway for our second half here, it's the Giltinis' opportunity to pull away if they can build with another try, but it's still within reach for the Arrows. They can narrow this thing really quickly with some aggressive play to get in that try zone. So we'll be back in just a few for the second half of Toronto versus LA here in New Orleans. Welcome back to New Orleans. We're moments away from the second half of the LA-Toronto game. Major League Rugby continues. This is technically a home game for the Toronto Arrows, as we've said a few times here, but because of the pandemic protocols, they're home based in Marietta, Georgia. And as George Killebrew, the league commissioner, just told you, it's just another example of keeping things going, of keeping this league moving through some harrowing times. And speak for my friend Jeff Ormsby and myself, Ian McNulty, we're just glad to be a part of it. Second half is underway, and the Giltinis are already charging.
Yeah, they another errant receiving the kickoff receiving team with another errant play, and now we got Glenn Bryce in space here getting front foot football. Oh, spilled forward.
Well, look out! That was a dangerous-looking play for the Giltinis.
Yeah. They still have the ball though. And now they should dot this down. This is an easy 2-on-1 here.
Wide open. Can he get in? Yes, he can.
Yep, try.
Easy score in the corner. No. I say from here, looks easy. No, I don't think so. But he had support, he had options, he had momentum, and the Giltinis never let go of the throttle on that drive. They took that ball away in the kickoff, as you mentioned, Jeffrey, and they moved it back. They moved it forth. They moved it in. They moved it out. Eventually, they dotted that sucker right down in the try zone. This will be a challenging conversion to be sure, but if you're the Giltinis, this is how you wanted to start the second half with assertive start.
Big John Ryberg, the 15's coming over on cover defense, doesn't have a real good angle on John. 235, like you talked about, 5'10", 235, really hard man to tackle, especially coming across without your feet underneath you. So he just barrels over and dots it down. Like you said, Ian, it's about right on the 2 meters in from touch. But, if anyone gets slotted, it could be Matt Giddo.
He's been here before, that's for sure. The Australian is one of the most seasoned players in Major League Rugby.
And you see what I'm talking about.
Wow. Threaded the needle to give this team another 7 points, extending that lead in the opening moments, really, of the second half to 24-9. And we discussed at the half, Jeffrey, that's, if you're the Giltinis, that's what you're looking to do. You're looking to say, look, we just scored on you, and we're going to score on you again, and this is how we play rugby. The Arrows, that looked like they maybe caught a little bit by surprise by that quick start.
Yeah, and you gotta take your kickoff. It's an opportunity for you to get a ball, and use it for attacking purposes. And Toronto just hasn't been able to effectuate that. They're going to get the ball back here off of Goddard's box kick. Unless Johnny Ryberg can get up. Good take by, I think another ball went backwards, so it's still the Arrows' ball. The Arrows need to come back here. They need to put some points up in the next 2 minutes, and it's starting to look like, Ian, the 3 points is not going to work for them. They're going to have to put the ball down in the try zone at some point.
Can't be trading 3 for 7,
right.
That's for sure.
Good take by Glenn Bryce there.
Well, you called it, Jeff, and you can play with passion, you can play with heart, but you're not going to score points if you're not playing with the ball. So far, the ball has been in Giltini's hands a whole lot of the time. We've seen some pretty wild results from kickoffs, the ball going this way and that, often coming up in the opponent's hands. But here's a melee here in the ruck. Wow, big, powerful ruck. Arrows desperate to get it, and looks like Giltinis pick up the penalty on it.
Yeah, just holding in, holding the ball in. John Ryberg, really big tackle there to effectuate the maul coming through. Like I said, big, strong guy.
So not releasing the ball, for some newcomers to rugby, that can be one of the more confusing laws of the land here in rugby. But it's, again, one of those calls that just is designed to keep the ball moving, keep the game moving.
Right.
When you hit the deck and you get tackled, you have to give the other team an opportunity to contest. So Giltini's put in here deep in Arrows territory.
Yeah, it looks like we have a new fullback in for the Arrows too. Here's a good maul forward by the Giltinis, about 5 meters out.
Giltini's threatening again. Keep it with the forwards, knock on that door, try to suck in some defenders. So they must commit to stop these big men.
Yeah, Angus Cottrell there, still on his feet. He's going to go in.
Dragging defenders all the way in, not just knocking on the door, battering it down and taking some company with him, and he is thrilled. Look at that reaction. He knows what's happening. He knows his team just tacked on 12 points as fast as you can say, hey, welcome back to the second half.
Yeah, he's got some great lineage. His grandfather played for the Wallabies in the 50s, and he was in the mix until he suffered a pretty not a devastating injury, but he got a bad injury that kind of derailed his opportunity with the Wallabies. And but again, you see this keeping his feet, strong leg drive through the tackles. And Ian, it's looking like we're seeing what we thought we'd be seeing from the Giltinis. It's just this quick
–
ball with big, strong runners, and perhaps they're just wearing down Toronto right now.
Well, we've seen practically as much scoring in the opening 4-5 minutes of the second half that we saw in the entire 40 of the first. So some adjustments perhaps in the locker room. That conversion, of course, was dead on, as we've come to expect from the leg of Mr. 10, Cateau.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was talking to J.D. Stevenson, used to work with the Eagles just at halftime, and I was saying, you know, this just seems like an aberration in the first half, the way the Giltinis were playing, and he agreed, you know, and we talked about how they were probably going to be a totally different team in the second half, and I think we're seeing it right now.
31-9, and that is 21 consecutive points for the Giltinis.
Yep. They got the bonus points as well.
There's
that fourth try. There's Goddard with the high ball again. That's a well-placed kick, and another great tackle out there with Johnny Ryberg again.
Lucky to get that ball away.
Yeah.
Arrows desperate to do something here with it. Need to find a way to get their backs in motion, perhaps. So we'll wait for another phase. Goes back inside. Getting that ball moving pretty well, but they seem to be bogging down again on the attack.
Yeah, it was your cousin Harry McNulty with the tackle there, Ian.
Yes, indeed. No relation.
Big number 7.
We'll have to chart that. Perhaps there is. Who knows?
Yeah.
Small world. Oh, well taken by the Arrows, though. Now they have something to cook with. Let's see what they can put in the pot.
I want to use this ball a little bit more quickly. That's a good, strong run there. Oh, unfortunate offload. But he may have a penalty here for tackling the man without the ball. And
looks like a case of playing the man there.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think the Arrows are going to nudge this in the corner. The three's not going to work here.
Wow, that's a big, hard man. Look at that
there
run.
You see that
every step of the way there was an attacking move by that big runner.
Yeah, and you know,
Tyler Rowland. Now we've got.
And it looks like, you know, I think he did put him in the sin bin for that. Because of professional foul. No. All right. Now you Toronto sin bin is back on. I mean, it arguably could have been a yellow card on that, because that guy in that support line for Toronto, he was pretty free in open play. I was surprised that the card stayed in the pocket there. Now Toronto's back with the full force of 15. You see, unfortunately, they put up allowed 21 points while that sin bin was out. And massive penalty on Cortez there for that lazy runner. 21 points in that when there was a disparity in the numbers.
Jeffrey, look at the score now. What we saw the Arrows do last week, what we've seen them do thus far today. What's the change been? Have they fundamentally changed their strategy in this game against the Giltinis?
No, I mean, they're trying to move the ball into space. The fact is they're not getting the Giltinis to fold their defense. The Giltinis are playing really good defense. They're not contesting the rucks, so they're not seeing situations where they have a man advantage or they can create a man advantage against the Giltinis. They were successful in doing that last week against Old Glory, that is Toronto, but different team they're facing today.
Well, key opportunity here for the Arrows to get something going, and they need it. They need it bad. So here's the maul. Well taken on that line out.
Yep, and now it's to the ground, but it's a tackle, so it's
some progress. Brody digging it out. Taking this time here. So important to be patient when you have this opportunity.
Asking for his big man to knock it up a bit here.
One of the hardest things to do is be patient when you're this close to the try line, but also one of the most important things.
Yeah, we saw last time, you know, when Toronto was in a similar situation in the first half, they knocked it on. They can't have that mishap here. They really need 7 here.
You want to go 110 miles an hour, but you need to keep it at 90. That's the plan thus far. Arrows doing a good job, keeping it moving, sucking in defenders, defending their ball. They're keeping their ball. Still have options.
They had offside there on the Giltinis, so just keep working it here.
They can do a free play here if they want.
Yeah,
they
and
have the
move it into
advantage.
space inside the big Montero. Oh, good tackle coming across
Devastating
by
tackle.
Dave Dennis. Big, massive tackle.
And that results in an
extracurricular
melee.
There's some fisticuffs going on here right now.
This
Big tackle. That's pretty high too.
Yeah.
Maybe be some mitigating factor that Montero was coming down low, but
that looked like
the Toronto boys didn't like that.
The desperate defensive play made a huge impact and got an immediate response from the Canadians.
Right. Again, you know, you've got one referee and 2 ARs. You know, it's easy for us because I'm looking at a monitor, as you are, Ian, and we can see the type of infraction there with Dave Dennis comes high. Whether they see it on the field is another story.
Let's look at some
of
the aftermath here.
Right, and that's Montero. That's Montero there, just kind of windmilling his arms in the air, kind of telling people to get away from him, and he's the one who suffered that high tackle.
There's a little Greco-Roman going on there for a minute, but that's not the sport that we came here to play. No doubt Lex Weiner, our ref, is reminding them. He says, you know, hey, he said it earlier, he wanted to have a positive environment today for the players to express themselves. Not in that way, though. Does not want to see this turn into a different sport. So let's see what the call will be. Arrows ball. Or scrum. Let's see if the Arrows can do with a scrum here. The Giltinis so recently did to them.
Yeah, and you know the refs. He's warning LA about the repeated offsides there on the pick and go. So now we're back to the 5-meter scrum. No penalty was called. No one saw what we saw, Ian, which you know was a pretty high tackle. There goes Los Angeles scrum down again, but the ball had fed to the back, so Lex Weiner's just going to play it because it's playable.
Arrows here still have all the cards on the table.
Yeah, and this is just be patient here.
Keeping it big man up front, seeing if they can dot it down between the posts, which would be an automatic 7 under the new rules.
He's a little high there. You want to get to the ground.
Too closer. Still the Arrows ball, but it's a mess of manhood under there.
That's not going anywhere.
Sort of a levee of arms and legs in the way. Looks like they're going to have to try something else. They do. They go wide.
Yeah, that's not effective either.
Ball goes wild, but that's going to be very frustrating for the Arrows. The bow was strung, the bolt was shot, but unfortunately, that will come back.
Right, and you saw there that Toronto went for the scrum on the penalty rather than taking the 3. This is just not good rugby, unfortunately. I know you're trying to make something happen there, but you know you're down 22 points, and you've got the ball at the 5-meter line. Just take it up, consolidate it, recycle it, and keep working it. Looks like we have another substitution, Ian. Looks like Big Mike Shepard has come on for Adrian Wadden in the second row. Mike had a standout season last year for the Toronto Arrows, and because of that season, was recognized again for possible slot in the Canadian national team. He's a big, hard dude. Good player.
A little PSA here. Just want everyone to know that today's broadcast is brought to you by Karbach, Ascension, and MF. Also, Puma, official boot. Toronto Arrows.
Yeah, I wish Karbach would get that Rattler back for the summertime. I miss that, the Rattler they used to make.
For those of you watching from around the country or in Canada or anywhere over the world through the Rugby Network, it is almost summertime in New Orleans where we're playing. It's a very cool day here, though, by New Orleans standards. Sun is shining after a lot of rain overnight, a lot of thunder and lightning. So far, it's been all thunder and lightning for the Giltinis in the second half. They've roared back to life after the halftime break. Clear it. Do.
Yeah,
a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, a little bit. I think Matt Giddo would have liked a little bit more than that. Again, maybe hamstrung a bit by the narrow in-goal area here.
Sometimes just a chance to reorganize. And again, yes, a a characteristic of the home pitch here in New Orleans is extremely narrow shoulders to this pitch. I do believe the plank-like dimensions just about as narrow as it can get in the league.
Yeah, I get some more subs coming on here, Ian. Sean McNulty, your fourth cousin, is coming at hooker for Violanu. And looks like we also have
number 16 for LA,
yep.
Sean McNulty, right?
And we also have someone who
Brother
seems to not have a number on his back. And, can't really tell who that is.
Secret Ops.
Got the
undisclosed number.
Long flowing dreads that I thought was covering his number. Then I realized he doesn't have a number.
Okay, well, Arrows turn to attack here. They haven't given up the mantle yet. 31-9, they know the stakes. They know they have to get something moving here. They know they can't settle for 3.
Yeah, and we also have a change in for the Arrows. Jason Higgins has come on for Ross Brody at the halfback position.
Giltini's were playing with advantage there, and ball came off of ref Weiner, but it's a incidental that happens now and then. The boys sorting something out.
Yeah, it looks like Angus Cottrell's come off, and Laney Haupicui's come on. That's the unnumbered man.
I see.
Wearing the 23.
Unnumbered man, but well known back in California, his native California. He was a favorite at Sacramento for many years.
Yeah.
Let's check out
that's
this injury.
Big Mike Shepard getting nice and low, but takes a little knee to the nose there.
They're checking him out there, giving him plenty of attention.
Yeah, it looks like he just may have taken that knee and it may have snapped his neck back in kind of a whiplash kind of way. They're bracing his neck, but he's moving his hands, thankfully.
He's talking, he's chatting with him.
See if we can get a shot of his feet to make sure he's wiggling his feet. Good.
Yeah, laying prone there. You know all the players there thinking about him.
Yeah, he is moving his fingers. Yeah, you see him right there. It's not a stinger type injury. It's more like he took a knee to the head so that the neck kind of snapped back rather than kind of axial compression on the head, which would create that stinger.
Well,
there's his foot's moving too, his left foot, which is a good sign.
Giving him plenty of attention, and while they do, it's a little breather to both sides. Again, if you're the Arrows,
what do you guys want to do?
You changing up your strategy at this point? Are you?
Yeah, they're not. I mean, look, they've had a lot of possession. They've had a lot of possession in Toronto's, in Los Angeles' this half. They just haven't utilized it. I mean, for the last 9-10 minutes, you could put the sprinklers on at the other side of the pitch because Toronto really has had the ball down here. But some rather ambitious handling, especially on that last play. Unnecessarily just trying to move the ball, ship the ball wide. It looks like they're going to take Mike Shepard off the field. Again, like we said, he's moving all his extremities, and but this is probably just precautionary.
One of the many Canadians on the Toronto side.
Yep.
Capped international player, 31 years old. No stranger to the hard bumps of rugby, that's for sure. But getting a lot of attention there. We're thinking about him. And back to the game, Jeff. The fire and fury with which LA took the pitch in the second half, I was very impressed. I mean, they had some opportunities for sure that were handed to them, but it's one thing to get those opportunities and not to exploit them, and they certainly have exploited them. If you're the Arrows, you have to think, it took points where you could get them, but maybe some of the plays are a little too complex. Maybe you're trying to do two steps too many.
I mean, look, it was 10-9, and then Cortez gets the penalty, and he gets sent off, right? So now you've got LA. They score that try right before the half. So even though there's a break in the game, there's huge momentum scoring. Anytime you score a try right before the half, it's a massive, massive momentum injection. Then you come out, and you're kicking off to Toronto, and they don't handle the kickoff well, and you get it, and you 2, 3, 4 phases, you score. But everything that was done when there was 14 men on the field, I mean, as a former coach, I can't impress upon people enough how detrimental it is to a team, not only for penalties, but, I mean, not only for the yellow card, but for penalties in general. And you've seen, like I said earlier, the repercussion of Cortez getting sent off for the lazy runner. And it's meant 21 points here.
Yeah, one man down, 21 points on the board. That's a pretty rough trade-off. Mr. Shepard seems to he's up now, still getting a lot of attention here. Thinking about him, wishing him the best for.
Yeah, he's rotating his neck. He's rotating his neck down and flexing positions, and yeah, he's looking better.
Let me point out once again, people may be just joining us. This is technically a home game for the Arrows. It's good to see Mr. Shepard laughing. It's technically a home game for the Arrows, although naturally both teams are on the road, and that's great to see. Okay,
yeah.
All players are clapping and cheering.
Medical
now.
staff was out there. Nola Gold, doctor. Like we said, it's been hard for Toronto Arrows being so isolated down here. It's kudos to this team, Ian, to be that isolated. You're living with these guys 24/7. If someone makes a mistake on the pitch, you've got to keep it on the pitch.
Right.
You're surrounded by these guys the whole time, and kudos to them for keeping a cohesion and a balance in such a very difficult situation.
Okay, and our game resumes. Giltini's ball after all that. Their scrum deep in their own territory.
And here's one of the interesting parts of rugby. Usually, if you substitute out, Ian, you can't come back on. But however, Adrian Wadden can come back on because of the injury to Mike Shepard. So even though Wadden went off, he would never be able to come back on. He now can because of the injury to Mike Shepard.
Of course, yes, the injuries are not considered a strategic move. It's not a roster move there. That's simply the hard knocks of the sport. So they give you a little levity on that. Good to see Mr. Shepard up and about.
Yeah, and it's kind of odd. I mean, maybe I would have thought they'd have another forward sub that they could slot in at the second row, but number 4 is back on.
Hey, and
I'm a bit perplexed.
We are back into a scrum now after that restart went awry.
Yeah. And now you get the Giltinis, Toronto's got to win that line out and that set piece. Now you just give them the ball back to them. A really, really good attacking ball here.
Crouch down.
Now there's a lot of time left on this clock, but it is getting to that point of the game where something has to happen if it's just not going to be a runaway win for the Giltinis. If
Right,
the Arrows are going to do something, the clock is not in their favor.
Right, but you're down 22, so you've got to score. You've got to score 4 times, and you've got to keep the Giltinis from scoring. That's going to be a very, very difficult task for the Arrows. Despite 25 minutes still on the clock. It's a good scrum. That's a good scrum from Toronto.
Big, powerful
All right,
scrum.
let's see if this could be a momentum changer, Ian. People want to devalue the scrum in today's game, but that right there, you see why the scrum's important to rugby. And, I know they want to take the scrum away as much as possible, but this is a massive, massive momentum changer if they can capitalize on this.
That's the ground fighting of the rugby match, right? You've seen the aerial attacks, you've seen the backs sweep out wide like a squadron of fighters, but when it comes down to a scrum like that's Stalingrad basement fight.
Right, and you don't.
Down and dirty as it gets.
Your whole team doesn't get excited when you jackal a football or they get a penalty for the other guy holding on, but every single person gets incredibly jacked up when you dominate a scrum and get a scrum penalty. That shows you the importance of the scrum. And they need to leave it in the game.
Jeffrey, I'm glad to hear you say that
As a back.
as a once and forever in his mind prop myself.
Yeah.
I will give all credit.
Well, I'm kind of, I'm a halfback, so you're my brethren too, as much as the backs.
A great communicator, Jeff Ormsby. Communicates the ball, communicates his feelings, often communicates the rules back to the referee, whether he wants to hear them or not.
Yeah, I'm known for that.
Well, he's a lawyer after all, in his other life. Interpreting the laws is all part of his life.
Yeah, and speaking of that, thankfully we have our good friend Ed here today.
Oh yes, Ed Gardner. He's a former retired USA international ref. Very, very grateful to have him here in the booth, helping us out with some of the laws analysis.
Yeah.
Great to have him here in New Orleans too.
because he's
And really
already
just
gone
great to
off
be here
as a
in New Orleans.
tactical.
Let's listen to the rest of the moment.
He came back on.
Here we go. This is an interesting conversation, Ian, in the vein that we were speaking of.
Okay. That's why he came off. What the fuck? We're good.
Hot mic activity there for the Arrows,
Yeah.
but nothing they haven't heard before in Canada.
So that they were actually discussing with the fourth referee why Adrian Wadden was able to come back on for Mike Shepard, and I didn't really hear the full conversation.
Spilled opportunity for the Arrows there, you have to say.
Right, and some space here. Ooh.
Oh, look out, here's that aerial attack we were talking about.
Right, I mean, but even with the bad ball, I mean, they're still taking it up and getting front foot football. Sean McNulty with the carry there. He's Harry McNulty, the number 7's brother.
Right, two brothers in the pitch on the same team.
Matt Giddo says, oh, it's just a little bit too slow. Let's just play some territory. Patrick Parfey, the new fullback on for Canada.
Name well familiar to all fans of Canadian rugby. He's the son of Dr. Pat Parfey, one of the influential leaders of rugby development in Canada, national coach for a while.
Acorn hasn't fallen far from the tree there.
Absolutely not. Also interesting about the younger Pat Parfey, he was a PhD candidate in epidemiology, something we've
Pretty
all become
apropos right now in Canada.
something we've all become quite familiar with, and the reason why
they haven't called him back to help out with the quarantining in Canada. I mean, unfortunately, the Canadian fans, you know, they can come to America if they wanted to watch the game today. I just don't know if they could get back in without having to quarantine for a while. I know I have a couple of people I know who are interested in coming down to watch the game, and just unable to do it right now.
Well, right now, Mr. Parfey's services are in dire need by his Arrows if they are to shift this narrative at all. Right now, the scrum has shifted quite a bit.
Yeah, the straight arm there, Ian, for an early push by the Giltinis. A little tap and go from the Arrows. They know that they got to put the pedal to the metal, so to say, and get this ball moving and get 7 points here.
First, they've got some Giltinis to contend with who have a very different opinion on the matter. Again, ball hits the deck, goes backwards though, play on, says.
That's a crafty little great kick. Oh, that's good. It was very, very, very close again to playing the man without the ball, but Lex Weiner said it was a knock on and he played advantage, and advantage has been kicked away.
Great potential to gain territory there.
Mm-hmm. And you see the Arrows just saying, okay, we're just gonna try to throw the ball up the field.
Arrows playing with advantage now after another wild exchange of the ball. Pick the hands that it goes through. Looked at the edge, keeps it alive, but knocked.
Yeah, it's getting a little. Yeah, look, that's when you're down that amount of points. Here we go, a little cross-border fisticuffs here, and you don't want to see that,
Giddo scoops it up, not quite. Ooh, but a hit very late afterwards. You could say he may have thought he could still scoop that ball and was moving with it.
Matt Giddo's getting beaten up today. He's like, I thought I was going into my twilight years coming over to MLR, I didn't realize I was going to take this much punishment, but they're consummate professional. Back at it.
More than 20 years in the game.
Well, at least in the high-level game. He's probably been playing since he's 5, about 4 or 5, when they're playing barefoot.
Good point. Now he's taking some of the pitch with him, though. He's got quite a bit of that he's carrying along on the jersey.
Yeah, his dad was a incredibly renowned rugby league player for West Magpies and Canberra Raiders in his later years. And Matt chose the different code. He chose rugby union rather than rugby league.
So many different networks and connections that run through the sport, Jeff. Isn't it fascinating?
Yeah.
Across international borders, across cultures, across generations. Major League Rugby is giving us another lens to see it all in play.
Yeah, I mean, the game's getting a little bit heated now. I mean, the teams are getting a little frustrated. The refs wants to keep it at a boil and not allow it to spill over into, fights. But again, it's, most of the time in rugby now, you don't see the punches because it's an immediate red card. So a lot of posturing, a lot of, like I call Brazilian capoeira, kind of perfunctory perfunctory violence.
But I'd say a little sloppiness too, even on both sides here. You know, ball constantly having to be restarted.
All right, so another short arm here to the Giltinis, and then a big hit up.
Dave Dennis.
No.
Now.
Yeah, this is a good build up here. Just keep their shape. They're getting Toronto to fold here, and as Giddo with a little half gap.
Show and go. Gitto.
Get offside.
No advantage going back here.
Yeah, you got offside. Another offside on Toronto.
Offside.
See Goddard there trying to dig it out, trying to get that ball moving, but
yeah. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what the Giltinis do here. You know, it looks like Giddo's going to strike it into the corner. Thought they may go for a scrum. They were pretty dominant in that last scrum. Let's see what their lineout can do.
yes, indeed. They got that in well-nigh perfect position.
Yeah.
Imagine they'll come down with a maul here.
Let's see. They go right to Nathan DeHoyt at the front. This could be problematic for this. Is going to be a dot down here. He's got a penalty already from someone coming in the side.
And essentially a free play for LA.
Yeah. You see Harry Goddard moving people around to get.
Kui ready to get that ball. He takes it. Blake support behind him.
Blake Rogers trying to bull rush him through.
Can't get much going though. Good defense by Arrows.
Again, we're in free play land here. And the kick pass from Gitto to DTH Vandermuller. Just having some fun and knowing it's going to come back for the one.
That's right. A play like that, Jeffrey, you know, if it works, you look like a genius and a hero, and if it doesn't, well, you just go back and steal the ball. So, you know, makes it very difficult to defend, of course, because when your opponent is playing with house money, they can take risks they ordinarily would not. In that case, a brief reprieve for the Arrows. You have to say are hanging on for dear life here at this point, this far down in their own, next to their own try zone.
Again, Gitto just kicked it out and they come down with the maul. Toronto's defended the maul pretty well. Oh, that could have been an obstruction there.
Kui takes it again.
But didn't really. There was no Toronto player there.
Langy knows his job here to get that ball and pull it through.
Right, it was immaterial there. He just kind of ran into his own player, but didn't prevent any Arrows player from making the tackle.
Arrows push and shove in that ruck.
Trench warfare here.
Trench warfare, well put. Can you break out into the open, over the top?
Good.
The ball comes loose.
Good hit and cover. Oh.
Harrison so fast with it, but that ball again wild.
Yeah.
Giltini's lucky to pick it up. Now they have an opportunity in the corner. Namir had a shot at it, and that'll. Oh, okay. Well,
I don't know. Harrison Goddard snuck down the blind side. The Arrows players are saying he stepped that into touch, but
let's assess here.
Haven't seen a hand signal as of yet, but the ARs are going behind the posts.
Let's see if we get a replay on that one.
Yeah. Harrison Goddard, we talked about it at the beginning, he's got great field vision, and he saw that blind side that no one was protecting, that blind side on the ruck, and he just scooted in.
Talk about trench warfare. Sometimes you have to pop the periscope up over the trench, assess the situation, if just for a moment, and make your move. And in that case, it looks like he liked what he saw with that.
Here it is, the replay, you know. Vandermuller holds the ball, and watch Goddard here. He sees, he's just like, oh, there's no one there. Yep, thanks, and dots it down. Got a water break now in after the conversion kick here from Giddo.
Yeah, you got to see. This is kind of the final countdown now. If you're the Arrows, you've watched the Giltinis score fast, score slow, slow grinding. It's been all Giltinis in the second half. They look to be calling it their own game. Welcome back to New Orleans. We've got the final chunk of the game between the LA Giltinis and the Toronto Arrows ahead of us. And in the second half, as we've noted and as you've seen if you've been watching, it's been all LA all day. They have racked up the points here, and Toronto has not been able to get anything going after hanging in there in the first half, courtesy of 3 goals by the boot.
Time on.
Yeah. So some more substitutions here, Ian. We've got Pagohani on for
Back off, Bruno.
Harry
back off.
McNulty. We also have Ryan James is on in place of, it looks like Matt Gitto's going to have a breather. And then heaps of subs for Toronto. We got Will Kelly coming on for Giuseppe Dutois. And then Pat Lynott, the Quebecois flanker coming on. I'm sorry, front rower coming on for Cole Keith, and Tyler Rowland on for Gaston Cortez. Mr. Rowland was on in the first half, if you remember, for scrummaging purposes when Mr. Cortez was in the sin bin.
Somewhat of a weather change here. There's a light drizzle has joined us on the pitch here in New Orleans.
Yeah, it looks like Luke Burton has slotted into the 5/8 position, the fly half position. Here's a good break.
Here's your break.
There it is. This should be Mr. Montero dotting one down.
Here's what they've been looking for the entire second half, courtesy of Mr. Montero, with that break. And look at the way he covered all of that ground. There's no doubt why the Arrows consider him a great player all around, but also the speedster.
Right. But you watch it. He sets up the whole thing by taking the kickoff and holding his feet and sucking in 4 defenders, and then he's back in support here. That's a very well-rounded try, all started by Mr. Montero and finished off by Mr. Montero.
The Argentinian, that's the stuff right there, right? If you can begin it and close it, you recycle yourself.
Right.
You put yourself back into the action.
Right. You saw him when he went into the tackle. He had the arms flailing. He wasn't going to the ground. He sucked in 4 defenders that created the space to move the ball into the middle channel, and then he got extricated himself from that little tackle, and then ran the support line to score the try.
So breath of life here for the Arrows. See if they can convert.
Right. Off a little.
Bounces in.
Yeah. They call that a little cannon there in snooker. So what we got here, Ian, is like here's the break, and there's Montero again. The guy started it all and finishing it all.
Way to be in the right position,
right,
to take that ball, to take that strike, and to turn on the jets at the right moment, to have the gas in the tank to do that too.
Yeah, we have another substitute. Fricky De Beer is on for Charlie Abel for the Giltinis. Fricky was with Utah Warriors last year.
Yeah, you're the Arrows. You're still 20 points down now. The clock is ticking against you. The rain it's a light rain, but it's still going to complicate things for a smooth flowing game.
Yeah.
In a game that's already displayed some pretty sloppy characteristics, let's face it.
Yeah, I mean, what you hope to do here is maybe you can put 2 more tries up or something, and get into, less than 7 points and get a bonus try. But here's a turnover and wide ball by Luke Burton to Ryan James. He's a bit of a hot stepper.
I'd say so. He didn't know which way he was going. He was jigging, he was jagging, he was doing it all.
Right. Toronto's still playing hard defense, It's a long season, so every minute out there you want to be working on your game.
Goddard still in for Giltinis. Still directing the show here for their potent offense.
Yeah, I would expect to see Christian Rodriguez probably in the next 2 or 3 minutes. There's a good see.
Yeah, but picked up a penalty for the Arrows.
Yeah, Toronto's not giving up. Lucas Rumball again,
No surprise there.
Yeah.
The greatest names in rugby, of course, and one of the great players too.
Yeah.
No
quit.
No ounce of quit in that man out there. Yeah. As we've seen him do it before in this game, just getting that right position, build yourself into a little fortress of defense. You take that ball right away.
Yeah, and I like that. It's not looking at the scoreboard and saying we're down 20 points. He's thinking it's 0-0 and I'm going to play the same way, and you can see it on him. He's exhausted, Ian, but he's going to get to the next breakdown and do the same thing. He's a really, really strong, physically and mentally as a player.
The Arrows put in here.
It's a good line out. Another substitute on Ian.
Giltini's ball, they take that one away.
Yeah, I got Colby Francis, number 20, is on for Adrian Wadden, which Don't know why he didn't come on for Mike Shepard, but
Arrows very lucky to come away with a chance to kick that one.
that's a big kick. That's a real big kick.
Yeah, just way to dance that one right down the line. Pretty
Yeah.
much get everything they possibly could out of that opportunity.
Right.
And he's put in.
A little hectic at the line out there. A little maul going on here.
Taken. Maybe a time-killing maul.
Stagnated. Goddard with the box kick. Boy, he's put him perfectly. Look at that, right there, so John Ryberg can.
Immediately under pressure.
Yeah, John Ryberg's had a great defensive game on that wing. You know, most people think of him as a try scorer, but today he's really defended that box kick really well. This is really interesting what's going on here. Looks like we have a knock on.
Knock on blue or knock on black?
That'll be adjudicated back here.
Yeah, a knock on blue. Good blitz defense. Looks like be a scrum down to the Giltinis here, about 21 meters out.
And if you're the Giltinis, you're in no rush.
No, yeah, like I said, you know, you've put in most of your substitutes. I think it was maybe one or two guys who haven't come on the pitch. Yeah, I'm surprised Goddard's still on there. Maybe, you know, Darren Coleman wants to keep working his offense a little bit, but I think you're going to see Christian Rodriguez, the UCLA product, Lindenwood University product from Los Angeles native, come on the field pretty soon.
How fun is that? Huh? A brand new team in the league this year in LA, and you get to play for it in your own hometown.
Yeah, and I think he was going to he was supposed to play for Dallas until they decided to take a year off and come in next year. So
that's an exciting opportunity, especially for a young rugby player to be surrounded by all these veterans.
Right. Well, I mean, the opportunity to play with an Ashley Cooper and Matt Giddo, and I mean, that's a kid's dreams in Australia, you know. And that's a beautiful line by Ryan James there. This is good stuff. It's a real good build-up.
And pressure's off.
Yeah.
They can do what they want here. Just keep the ball moving. Be calm. Nothing desperate.
Yeah, and Goddard's going to slow him down here.
Ball goes wide, but well recovered.
It's a little scrappy.
Arrows still contesting here.
Yeah, nice. So you look counter ruck there by the Arrows. Yeah.
That's the never give up part of the game, right? You can make things happen. That hit, ooh, right around the belt. Looks like it might have been a tad late. He was looking for the call. Don't think he's going to be granted one, though.
We're still here. Come on, Freaky. Come on, Blakey. Come on, Freak.
And that's one of those 50-50s. Like, you know, you see a lot of penalties when a man is hit in the air, especially on a high ball. But on the pass, it's a little different. The ref is usually not going to call that for hitting the man off his feet because he shouldn't be off his feet because it's a bad pass. So you saw that Lex Weiner just let that play on. And I agree with that call because it was a high ball to DTH Vandermeer, you know. And the tackle was actually immaterial. You saw Vandermeer wanted the call, but Lex Weiner said no. Glenn Bryce with a lot of space here, good feet, turn the ball upfield.
Never on the ball.
That's a good pick. Oh.
There was advantage.
There was advantage being played for offside. Yeah, I didn't realize they were playing advantage. I didn't see the referee indicate they were playing advantage, but there was.
Well, here we are in the final embers of this, less than 10 minutes in.
Yeah, another unfortunate opportunity gone awry for Toronto and Luke Burton. A good kick into touch.
Let's credit the grit of the Arrows in general, though. I mean, in this season as a whole, they're playing, as we know, their home base is in Marietta, Georgia. that just means they're separated from home, from their social support network, from their families, from the things they usually do.
That's what we talked about earlier. I mean, like, can you imagine just being around each other, someone like the same people for almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you know? And to keep them from killing each other is a difficult thing. And
well, no matter what happens, it's going to be a defining experience in the lives of these men.
Yeah.
I'm certain of that.
And I'm hoping soon that they can go back to Canada and reestablish their lives and reestablish their rugby team up there. But again, kudos to them for being champions and
making it happen. It's the will to make it happen, to say we're part of Major League Rugby. This is a growing league. We had to stop last year. We know what it's like to miss rugby, and we want it back.
Right, and as the only team in Canada for now, they're holding the mantle for Canadian rugby in North America, and they should be making all Canadians should be proud of how what they've gone through and how they've persevered.
As a part of the greater rugby community, I'm proud of them too. That's one of the things I love about rugby, is the way it stretches across borders and builds connections and stitches together networks. And that's certainly something we've been seeing here. Today's broadcast, let me tell you again, is brought to you by Karbach, Ascension, and AMF.
Yeah, another side entry on Toronto here, and penalty, and Giltinis have chosen the scrum. See if they can get a good push here and dominate this Toronto pack. And just the opposite. Toronto with a great immediate push. There's Bryce with the feet. Good defense. Ooh.
Again, Giltinis in no particular rush.
No.
Clock is their best friend.
Looks like Adam Ashley Cooper's off, and Christian Rodriguez is on, but Christian Rodriguez is bounced on the outside, and Goddard's going to stay on at the halfback position. There he is, directing his boys to the left. Pago Haini with a big tackle. He's a strong, strong fella. It's a good build up here. You can hear the Giltinis, on the field saying, "Patience, boys, patience," and that's what Goddard's got him doing. Nice and slow.
At this point, keep the ball, do what you want with it. Try not to get anybody hurt.
Yeah, just kind of like a metronome, down, back and forth, and eventually, if you hold the possession, it should pay off.
May have skidded in. Nope, short. Ref saying.
Goddard with a lash. He's held up, and it's turned over. Oh,
turned very brief reprieve, however, because back into the able hands of their number 7, that's Harry McNulty.
Yeah, I mean, wow. You strip the ball there. You play great defense. You strip the ball. It kind of somehow ends up in the big lock, Kobe Francis's hand, and just trying to make something happen, and tries to put his foot to it, and it didn't work out for him.
A bouncing, joyful dive into the try-zone for that one. Earned by Harry McNulty. You can see the joy in his face at having that stat added to his roster. He and his brother, both Giltinis. His brother Sean.
30 seconds.
Yeah, he may have jumped in a little bit too much. He's kind of limping by. He looks okay. He was taking a little limp. Maybe landed wrong.
Probably landed on his keys.
Yeah.
He had his keys in his pocket. Can happen. Well, if you were the Giltinis, you're probably in your head looking forward a little bit to the next match when LA will travel to Houston to take on the SaberCats, who in their last outing came up 0 points. That this weekend too. And if you're Canada, you've got Seattle next on your list.
Yeah. Luke Burton, he looks like he's put on some muscle from last year when he was playing with the Legion. He was playing 10 for the Legion. He's looking really much stronger and more of an inside center type body, but with the 5'8" skills to play at the 12 position too, as a second 5'8", as they traditionally have called him.
Back off blue.
Ref Lex Weiner here. He's overseeing the final minutes of this game.
Yeah, just making sure no one gets hurt, kind of, Ian, and people keep the no fisticuffs and everything.
11
And as he's watching over the players, he knows that his mother, actually, Mrs. Weiner, is watching over him. She is here in the stands at the Gold Line in New Orleans, here watching her son do his thing too, just as important as any player on the field, possibly more so.
Good defense there from Luke Burton just to shut that ball down. He's had a really good game too. Come on in the second half really well. I mean, he was obviously playing in the first half as well, but he's really played well in the second half.
Okay, a little stoppage here yet again. And many more seconds ticking off the clock to bring this to its now inevitable conclusion. Another victory for the Giltinis, and you have to say, pretty resounding one. Took it from a close one near the end of the first half, and really turned it on its head and made it a decisive win.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as a coach, you always want to play to that last minute of the first half, and if you can get a try right on the 40, you know, right on the 40 minute, it's massive, and you saw that. It was a complete momentum switch as we had foreseen. Good defense there by Ryan James.
Never on the ball.
Here they come now, the Arrows saying, hey, we're not
good
done.
Little build up here.
We're not done playing yet either, by the way, boys.
He's got to get to the ground quicker.
Tackle lead.
Yeah, so DTH Vandermeer did a great job holding that tackler up to allow his defense to get set.
The Arrows saying, hey, let's have some fun here too. Let's end this game with a try in our pocket.
Interesting clean out there. Yeah, it's still very physical. I mean, you can hear it.
Oh, you hear the thuds, you hear the groans, you hear the whistle.
Unfortunate knock on there. I mean,
Guys, I just have to explain. They're calling the game because of lightning. So, yeah.
And it looks like this game is going to be called for lightning, is the message that we're getting.
That would be the end of the game. So, I'm just telling you.
And that is the end of our match. It's been
They called it for lightning.
just a little bit early because of lightning incoming here. We haven't seen it yet from the booth, but
I see a cell phone tower down in the distance there with a blinking lighty in it. I haven't seen any lightning, and it's to my left is pretty clear skies. I mean,
well, here we are in New Orleans. If the crazy weather isn't right in front of you, that just means it's probably right behind you.
Yes, so I can't see behind me. So.
It has been a pretty wild weekend already with weather, and we had a nice thorough game here between the Giltinis and Toronto Arrows. As many predicted, Giltinis triumphant 43-16. Well, welcome back. That was quite a match. If you were a Giltinis fan, that delivered everything you hoped your boys would pull off. The first half pretty tight, second half a true blowout. But the Arrows have a lot to be proud about in their game. They fought hard. They pulled together. They made some statements of their own on defense, especially. They'll be looking to get back at it. You see the tables here. Giltinis standing right on top with all 15 points right there. The Warriors right behind them with this loss. The Arrows 6 total points. Now they fall to 1-3. Looking to rebound here on their next game against the Houston SaberCats. Meanwhile, the Giltinis will take on the SaberCats, whereas the Arrows will face the Seattle Seawolves next. I'm Ian McNulty for myself and Jeff Ormsby. Thanks so much for joining us here in the booth. Major League Rugby has yet again shown that it will persevere, that it will fight through adversity, pandemic or no, to keep this season running, as the Arrows have demonstrated. Giltinis, the new team, showing all the promise as advertised. We'll be back with you for more rugby action. Thanks for watching.